Hey, hey. Oh, the crazy things I'm gonna tell you right now. Let me just make sure I'm actually on. Where's my page? Yes. Okay, good morning, Christina. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys some crazy shit right now. I gotta stir my coffee real quick because all the oil's at the top. So the stuff I'm going to tell you right now, literally, if you can recognize this stuff in your own life, it's going to propel you forward, right? It's actually going to like motivate you, bring energy to the table. You're going to see things, you're going to appreciate things more, and you're going to feel like you're doing a good job. And when you feel those things, you're actually going to do a better job, right? That's kind of the way it works. So interesting shiznit that's going on, right? My kids went home for vacation and, they're coming back here to Florida because we just moved here to Florida. Anybody who's not, hasn't really been tracking with us. And my son, who's going to turn 16 tomorrow. Hey, Diana. He's going to turn 16 tomorrow. Okay, look. Less than 2.5 years ago, I was making $400 a week. This week, my son flew back home. I bought their flight to go back there, whatever. They're coming back here. And my son was like, oh, he's using his app. He's taking an Uber. He's taking an Uber from his friend's house to the airport. And I'm just going to say this because I can. His dad's not someone I can, rely on or whatever. So I was sending him home. He's 15 years old. And I was a little bit nervous about it. He's got an app. So it's just these moments where I can recognize the growth that has happened or the things that our family gets to have because of wealth. So a lot of times we think of like being wealthy or having lots of money as like superficial or it's bad or it's a sin or it's some other dumb bullshit, right? So like when I look at these moments like this, like, wow, here's my son who has an Uber app and we have linked accounts on my bank account. And so like, I can see his account is linked and he has a debit card and, he's taking an Uber to the airport and flying home because he went on vacation at home. None of that would have ever been in my realm of consideration or possibility 2 years ago. Do you see what I'm saying here? And it would be so easy to just not recognize, and I'm going to tell you guys something else, right? So like, it'd be so easy to not recognize those things. So today, that's what it is. And in 2 years, that's not even going to register on my radar anymore, right? Like in 2 years, who knows what it's going to be? Like it's going to be, my kids are investing in their first homes. I don't know, right? But like as of today, as of 2 years into building my business, my kids a little over 2 years, my kids are, it's this kind of life where like I'm teaching them about responsibility and money and they're getting to see what life is like when we live this way. And so Nick now as a 15-year-old, he's experiencing what it's like to fly home for vacation, go to his friend's house, complete autonomy and independence. He's learning how to use a debit card in himself. He knows how to take an Uber. He's confident in traveling because we've traveled so much. So now he knows airports, he knows how to travel and do the e-ticket and all these kind of things. And for me, as the mom who was standing in the food stamps line or going up to the coach and saying like, hey, I can't afford for him to play baseball. Can he please play for free this year? For me to be able to see my children experiencing something like that, right? Like it's nice to have nice things and it's really fucking nice to have opportunities and options for yourself and your family. But I would say hands down the most prolific part of showing up and actually putting both feet in as a mother or as a woman or as a father who leads the home, doesn't matter, right? But especially as a mother, actually showing up and putting both feet in on the dream that you feel prompted to go ahead and do is the thing that's going to bring your family all the way to the next level with you. And what you feel on the inside when you know that you are willing to stand in the tension of feeling something new and learning something new and put your ass on the line on something that you couldn't turn back from or you couldn't quit. You challenged all those beliefs about what being wealthy means, or what does it mean if you take time to build your business? What does it mean if you're taking time for self-care and taking really good care of yourself and using resources or finances or time to actually take care of yourself and to listen to your soul and to be guided and to challenge some of the societal beliefs that we have about, you're only a good mom if you're at the freaking PTO meetings and whatever. Like if that's your thing and you enjoy it, then do it, right? You're only a good mom if you have a certain kind of car. You're only a good mom if you, are at every single baseball game. You're only a good mom if what, like all of it's complete bullshit. Because what I learned, right, and the thing that I've worked really hard to find out, what do I really believe about this and what is really true, is as a mom, and like, let me know the moms here, right? Who are the moms here? Because I know the moms here are feeling the pain of like, I just want to be everything for my kids and my family, and I want to crush my business and take them to the next level. And those two things go, right? I know, I get it, right? So what I've learned in this journey is that it's not actually about giving all of me to my children or family. It's actually about me giving my children what brings them to life. But I can't actually give myself permission to do the things that bring my children to life unless I'm giving myself permission to do the things that bring me to life. Whether you like it or not, you can't give or teach someone or call someone's ass to more to something you have not called your ass to more. So if you have not been able to give yourself permission to thrive and be lit up, you are not going to be able to give your kids permission, and you're not even going to see that you're not doing it. You're not going to see it because it's not in your world, it's not in your radar. Just like back in the day, 2 years ago, I would never have been like, oh, it would be really awesome for Calvin to be well-rounded, traveled, and like have his own bank account and have a debit card connected to mine so I can see it. I know he's safe. I don't have to rely on anyone else, and he can be really independent that way. And how's he going to work off the money and all these kind of things? Like that just wasn't on my radar. It was like, how can I get the right? So like the more work that you do, we do the work so our kids don't have to, right? So the more we show up and do the work, what was this? How the uplevel happens, right? I just need to make sure I give you guys the point of what I told you. So the more the uplevel happens, the more that we are able to actually see what's possible for our own children, our own family, ourselves, and our clients, right? Especially for the people who are coaches, it's also true for that. So here's another little tidbit. So that was just like a celebration this morning. Like, wow, that's really fucking different than 2 years ago. Really fucking different. And I love it. And I was like, interesting. How about more of that? Instead of me being like, wow, that's like note to God, like, hey God, I love that. I'm open to more of that. That's all. That's all. I'm just open to more of that. More of my children thriving and doing really well, right? So, and now my stepdaughter lives with me, which is so awesome. So I get to learn like how to love on her to an epic level too, right? So amazing. And here's the other little piece. So here was another thing that happened, doing the uplevel. So I'm in my bedroom. This is my bedroom. Welcome to my bedroom. This right here is the curtain for the pool area. And I have an office. I have a big, huge office. It's actually really big. And it's got a chunk out of the wall this big. And my husband also needed a desk. And so today I was just like, okay, I'm ready. I'm like, I want to serve people. I'm like, how am I going to, I got all these women that I get to love on. Like, what am I going to do today to serve them? I know there's a few extra people that haven't really gone both in their business. How am I going to serve them, help them break through their patterns and fear of actually stepping in to do this, right? So I'm going to look at the comments in just one sec. So I'm in my office and I'm just like, no, just like doesn't like, I just didn't feel it. I don't know how to explain that. I didn't feel it because I take such good care of myself now that like, I know when something's off, the energy of it or the feeling of it, like whatever you want to call it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Right. So I just was like, no. So I grabbed the desk and I scooted it into the bedroom and I grabbed my chair and I grabbed my salt lamp and my oils and my decorations and I put them here in my bedroom. And then I sat down and I just felt like, okay, what does this feel like? Does this feel good? Like totally not acceptable. I have an office. We have this beautiful bedroom. This looks like crap in my bedroom and I just don't give a shit because it feels good for me. I don't know why. I have no idea, but it feels good for me and I feel safe and I feel like I can do my best work here and I feel inspired and I just love it. So I did it, right? This might sound so trivial, but like where in your life are you not giving yourself permission to listen to your soul and listen to your body on the things that could really light you up and take you to that next level so you can get the reward of your children having a completely different life because mama sees differently. I see something different because I'm giving myself what I need and I'm coming back to life and I can see things more clearly. I can see higher level versions of things. I can call in that future me. I can show up as the woman I know is the woman that I envision myself to be and be on my A game, right? And so it's the smallest things like this. Like I want my desk in here right now. I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind in a week. I have no idea. Maybe I can rearrange. If the office would have to be like soundproof. If I can soundproof the office, then I'll use the office. But like right now, even though it looks like crap in my bedroom, I just don't care. I'm using this. And that's what I need right now. Last night, last minute, I was like literally on the client call and I had someone book the massage for me because I really just needed a massage. I've been working out really hard and I was sore. Like, you wouldn't know that those are things that are actually going to teach you how to up level your entire life and actually show up in your business and do exponentially better results in your business, but they are. It's actually a really big deal. And this is the way I always teach it to my clients, right? So there's your brain and there's your soul. Most people use their soul to try to back up their brain. Like, my brain says I should do this, so I'm going to try to convince my whole entire body to go do this, even though I'm like, and everything feels off and like, but I have to, and you need to, and blah, 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 and they're militant, all this kind of stuff. But we need to flip that. Like, we literally just need to start flipping that shit. Like, enough is enough with that striving, and it's hard, and I'm pressing myself. And like, I watch moms constantly like try to show up so big for their kids that they give themselves anxiety. Like, how is that a plan? That's a bad plan. That's all. That's just a bad plan. Let's ditch that plan. We're gonna fucking light that shit and throw it away. That's a bad plan. Let's go to a different plan. How about the plan being that we actually use our brain and our mind and our smarts and the intelligent, and I know you're one of the smartest people that you know, because those are the kind of people that show up on my stuff. I know that you're a go-getter and you're always looking for that next level. You're constantly trying to up-level yourself and figure things out and figure out how to help your kids and help yourself and help your parents and help your brothers and sisters and help your clients, and that's the way you live, and you keep trying to show up, and then you beat yourself up when you don't be better, right? This is the path out of that. The path out of that is, one, start recognizing the moments around you that are epic, right? In the beginning, when I first started it, the moments around me that were epic were like, just me actually, like my son asking a curious question about something he would have never done before because he's intrigued by seeing mama lit up. Or my husband learning to actually trust when I say I need to go take some self-care time, and I go and I come back and I'm actually in a different state, or I'm actually doing better, or I get a better result, right? Those are moments to celebrate. Or when you're honest with yourself about something, that is something to celebrate, because most people don't do that. Right? So you start being really honest with yourself and you celebrate those moments, and you get to like notice it for the second, instead of like only anxiety up until it, or I'm anxiety about what's going to happen next. Like, in the present moment, what are the things that you can notice and be really grateful for, right? And as you do that, as you show up, as you start to teach your subconscious that you like, look, I really am getting somewhere, right? I am getting somewhere. And if you're not, if you're looking and you're just like, wow, it's like fucking Groundhog Day, the same day over and over and over, then there's some wired neural pathways that just need to get reset. I mean, literally, that's the work. That's what needs to happen, right? Like, if you're looking for like, okay, I've been cycling the same thing over and over, there's a neurological storm that could be going on, or there's just some deeply set patterns, or there's some old beliefs that need to be challenged and sort of like dug up, shaken up a little bit and thrown off. Nobody needs to go back and figure out like, this was the moment that it happened. Like, you don't have to do all that. All we have to know now is like, what is it that you're believing about the world, and what about you and about the other people, and how have you associated that, right? So literally in this July group, this is what we're doing. 66 days. We're 2 days in. We close the door in 5 days. If you're interested, just PM me. The information's on mandyperry.com. But this is the journey. Like, this is what it looks like. And so when you hit a wall, and this is how I've always loved to describe it to myself and my clients, right? And tell me if you've experienced this, if you know what I'm talking about. You're super jazzed and you're excited and you're like, I'm going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And then you're going in, it's like, bam, right into a wall. Like, just like slam into a wall. And then you're like, what's wrong with me? I was so excited to do this. Why am I not following through? For some people, it's 2 days. For some people, it's 2 weeks. For some people, it's 6 weeks, right? Somewhere usually right around there. Not usually longer than 6 or 8 weeks. And then whatever they were forcing themselves to do, they were telling themselves they had to do, starts rubbing up against all these beliefs and these patterns that they have. So we just do the work to go in and rewire them. And we don't do it freaking once. We do it every single day for 66 days, because that is what actually gets in there, roots something different, so that now you're not willpowering yourself to actually show up for your kids, for your husband, for your family, for your parents, for everybody, for yourself, right? You're truly rooted in a belief system that's going to get you the epic result, that's going to flow from you at the pinnacle down to everybody you love. And some people will choose to do this path with you, and some people will not. And that's just what it is, right? Yes, the wall, the freaking wall. Shit hurts, and it hurts so good, because this is the deal. here's your path. If you can see the whole path, it ain't yours, it's somebody else's. You should not be able to see the whole path, but you should be able to see the one step in front of you. So here you are trucking, you know this one thing in front of you that you can do. And you're probably freaking out about step 4, 5, 6, and 7. So you're not actually engaging in step 1. And if you are engaging, you're kind of mindlessly doing it. So you're probably eating, or you're bitching, or you're numbing on Netflix, or whatever you're doing, but drinking, whatever the behavior is, right? Because we're freaking out about step number 1 instead of actually just being like present, recognizing the good stuff and stepping into step number 1, right? So #human, so that's what we do as humans. And so when we look at the path, if we knew that this path, 2 years ago, if someone said, Mandy, in 2 years, you're gonna have $500,000 business, you're gonna live somewhere tropical, and your son's gonna be flying around the world with his own bank account, debit card that you're teaching him how to use and taking Ubers, I would have fucking laughed so hard. There's no way my brain couldn't have even comprehended that. Like, I just literally wouldn't even have been able to process any of that. Like, it just wouldn't have happened. So as I'm going down this path, right, like, you don't have to worry about all the other steps, because by the time you get to step 3, you're going to know how to deal with step 4, but not until then, right? You're trying to figure out step 4 at step number 1. That's not how that shit works. And if you're not willing to be in the tension of being like, but I don't know that this is going to work out, of course you don't. You wouldn't be doing something new or building something fantastic if you already knew it was all going to work out. If that was possible, everybody would fucking do it. It's not possible. The only thing that's possible is for you to actually be honest about what you want and step into this path knowing full well that blocks are going to come up. But guess what? Your little badass is fully capable of handling these blocks, and the blocks are an actual gift, right? So whatever comes up that I'm like, oh my God, right? So like, let's say, oh, my husband joining the business, right? So like, of course, when you and your husband live together, work together, have stuff coming up, and like, then it's like, who's the boss and who's not? Like, shit gets rubbed up. I am so thankful that my husband and I, the reason we chose to do this, right, is because my husband and I see it as an opportunity to learn and to grow, and like, oh, this is challenging some of my uglier qualities, so I get a chance to practice doing this better. Or like, okay, how is this serving us? This is might shift the direction a little bit. Maybe this is like a shift that we're taking. And so when the block comes up, so 2 things, there's 2 things, three things. 1, actually I'm gonna put these in the comments for you guys. 1, notice the damn wins. And I'm telling you, I've never had a client that didn't suck at this. I just never had a client who didn't suck at this. Everybody sucks at this. It is what it is. Some people are better than others, but everybody sucks at it. So 1 is notice the wins and actually be present with them for a second. Like me just noticing and like, oh God, yes, that feels really good. Like my son doing that and having that experience, and that feels really good. Feels really, it's funny because my stepdaughter, same thing, but she's super independent. So it's like, that's not one of the qualities for her that I would have been like, yay, there's other things that I'll celebrate with her, right? So I'm just honest with myself, like that one feels really good for me. And then like, I'm open to more of that, right? Like just stopping and being like, yeah, more of that. I'm open to more of that. It's so big, right? So actually be present with it. I'm open to more of that. Okay, number 2 is acknowledging to yourself what you need and being honest about it. What do you need? Be honest. So people always are asking me, hey Mandy, how do I know the difference between being lazy and when I need rest? Which is a fabulous question, right? That is like really a very high level, powerful question. And it took me some time to get really clear about that. And I asked some mentors and stuff like that, and I experimented with some stuff for myself. And this is what I've learned. Basically, it's safe for me to say, you're not the kind of person who's just not gonna show up. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to me. I mean, you really just wouldn't. You'd listen for a couple seconds and you'd be out, right? Which people do all the time. They listen to a few seconds, and they don't want to be called to this shit. They don't want to see this stuff. They don't want to see what's possible because they don't want to stand in the tension. You're different, right? So first of all, you don't even have to freaking worry about that. Really, you just don't have to worry about that. You're never just going to like quit forever and not show up for your kids or yourself or your business or the client, the future clients, or your husband or your parents or your brothers and sisters. Like, it's just not in your nature. That's what it is. So you can acknowledge that first of all, and we can be like, okay, cool. I actually don't have to worry about that. But if you're trying to get clear in a moment, knowing, okay, I'm not that kind of person, but in this moment, here's what's probably happening. What's probably happening is your body is saying, or your soul is saying like, I need you to fucking slow down. I need you to calm down for 4 seconds, please. And you're like, okay, I'll rest, but I rested yesterday. So I'm gonna rest today, and then what happens in 7 days? And you start freaking out because you start thinking of all of the next steps. So if you were just gonna release those, remember, you don't know the next steps. What this journey looks like is you know the one step in front of you and you don't know what the next ones are. That's what it looks like, okay? So knowing like, okay, this feels uncomfortable because I'm resting again and it feels like I'm just gonna need to rest forever, right? So, but I'm gonna trust it. I don't know what those steps are, but I just know right now my body is asking me to rest. Right? So like we get really honest, and sometimes it's like my body's asking me to get up and go running. My body and my soul are asking me to put the chips down. My soul is asking me to put that second drink down, to say no to the second drink. My body is asking for me to jam out to music and dance. My body is asking me to ask this person something but what if they say no? My soul is screaming like, get in ACA July, get in the wealthy coach group right now. Yeah, but I don't know how I'm gonna make that third payment, or what if that doesn't work, or what if I really go for this and I fail, I'm gonna look like an idiot, right? Like this is all the crap. This is all of it. What I'm suggesting to you is that, one, just be honest what you need, and then don't worry about what that means and is gonna look like. Like, but if I give myself what I need, I think of it as this. I think of it as like a training season, right? So like literally when I moved here to Florida, I took almost a month off. I mean, it was just insane. It was awesome and scary, right? Scary as hell. Like I literally was sitting in bed like, really? Like, do we still need time off? Like, that's what it felt like really? Right? And then I was like, but it is what it is. And so I think of it as like training season. It's like training camp. It's like the time period that you're using to season yourself and to recuperate, regenerate, to heal yourself. So when you go to take that next power move, right, which you're always trying to do, it's why we're frantically doing busy work, because we like making that move and getting that result and excitement on the other side. But when you're going through the training, whether it's an hour or a day or 7 days or a freaking month, whatever your body's asking for, whether it's get out and get moving more, or rest, doesn't matter, right? You start learning to hear your body. Whatever it is your training season, so that when you go to make that next step, it's a fucking power step. You will just blow the top off, right? And you don't get to judge what that's going to look like, because it's going to look like what it's going to look like, and the work is the work, and what your body needs. It depends on where you're starting, right? So a big part of it is just accepting where you're at and being honest with yourself about what you need, and then giving yourself that, right? What do you need? Be honest. Don't freak out about the next steps. Does this make sense to you guys? Girl, you're in my brain. I know, #human. We are so the same, isn't it funny? All right, so we have notice the wins, actually be present with them. Figure out what you need to do. Don't freak out about the next steps. And then number 3 is actually be willing to be in the tension of growth. I gave this example the other day. I don't remember what training it was for. Maybe it was even on the live, but it's relevant. So the first time I started getting into any kind of like health stuff, no, what is it called? Self-help. Is that what it's called? Self-help? Yeah, maybe self-help stuff. First time I started getting into self-help stuff, someone said to me, I was talking about my relationship and like how pissed off I was and whatever. And the person said to me like, well, what if you knew you were going to get hurt? And I was like, well, then I would leave. And they were like, but what if you were going to get hurt in every relationship? And I was like, I was just like, well, what do you mean? That I would crawl in a hole and never speak to anybody. Like, I don't want to get hurt. And I started to recognize like humans are humans. Any interaction with any human, of course you're going to get hurt. Of course your husband's going to hurt you. Of course your kids are going to hurt you. Of course your friends are going to hurt your family. Of course your family's going to hurt you. Like, that's just a normal part of it, as being human. And so I actually noticed like, oh, in order to have really intimate, close relationships where I have friends and I have a husband that I'm intimate with and stuff like that, I have to be willing to get hurt. And like, that was like my first epiphany. Like, that was like the first real big epiphany that I ever had on any of this kind of work. Right? So like, what if you knew that in your business, you were actually, in order to grow to a new level, you're going to have to release a little bit, have some faith, let somebody who's ahead of you actually guide you, because they can pretty much predict all the shit that you have going on and exactly what's going to happen next, and they can help you get through it, right? So like, what if you could let go and release some of the control a little bit, stop telling yourself that I have to do this myself, and like actually let somebody support you? What would that look like for you, right? So like, my suggestion here is that no matter what it is, there's going to be a level of tension because it's new. It's going to challenge. So the way you think now is producing the life that you have. Nothing on the outside of your life didn't start somewhere inside of you. Everything, it started here and then manifested into your life. That's what it is. So the shit you don't like, that's on you. The shit you love, that's on you, right? So it starts here and then it turns into our life. It starts as an emotion and turns into shit in our life. Whether it's a relationship, an argument, tension, stuff, beautiful homes, moving to Florida. Oh, there's a piece of hair on me, it was bugging me. Okay, so you know that, right? I know you already know that. We get to own that. That's good news, bad news. It's really just good news, right? And then just recognizing and remembering that, okay, so I'm gonna do this thing where I'm living my dreams, I'm listening to my intuition and soul, I'm building my dream life, I'm creating all this epic stuff for my children, my family, myself. I'm gonna enjoy this process as I'm doing it. I'm gonna truly actually design my life. I'm not just gonna make a goddamn paycheck, I'm gonna design my life. And that's gonna feel like tension. And what will happen is I'll feel the tension, I'll freak out, my God, it's gonna happen, I'm gonna look like an idiot, how do I make this payment, what's gonna happen? And we do that and we freak out, and then like, we're like, oh, we take action, we freak out and we take action, and then we start to learn like, oh, okay, this is actually, it's okay, this wasn't so bad. Like, look, it's actually like being in the group with this woman is amazing. Getting coached, like I thought Mandy was gonna rip me a new asshole, but she was actually really sweet and loving, and she understood me, and she called my ass to more, but it didn't hurt that bad. Right? We start learning these things like, oh, I booked a call with ACA and I thought I needed to have all these answers, but really I just got all this insight into myself. I'm like, that was actually amazing, right? Like, so we start seeing these things, and what happens is you learn to get comfortable being uncomfortable, and that will bring you to $1 million. That skill, learning to be comfortable being uncomfortable so that you're constantly in an open state of willingness to grow, will bring you all the way to multiple millions of dollars. That's it. I mean, if you're willing to do that, which 99.9% of the population is never going to be willing to do that, but you get to choose something different. You really just get to choose something different. Because you're here, because you're willing to listen, because you're willing to look at things and try new things and experience growth. And you're willing to have a little bit of faith. Trust that everybody out there isn't all just slime bags trying to get something from you, that people really want to support you and call your ass to more, because you were the person that was willing to put yourself in a position where you're like, fuck, I'm doing this, and I'm putting both feet in. No more playing, no more like, oh, I got one foot in, but really I'm kind of holding back, and I keep telling myself I don't know what else to do, but I do. I'm not even doing the one thing I know to do, right? Like, no more of that shit. You get to have your dream life, travel the world, have your children have an experience that you never got to have, leave a legacy, heal lives, live your purpose, live lit up. You just get to have that. And that's going to look like these things I'm talking about right now, right? I'm going to post these for you guys so you have them. Be willing to be in the tension of growth and release some of the control. And now let me just tell you, just so you know, right? Just so you know, when you get to the stage in your business where you're hiring a team for you that are just there to support you, to free you up for you to actually be connected to soul, that is the ultimate level of releasing control. So you get to practice that shit now. Woo! MandyPerry.com. I'm just going to throw this in there for you guys in case you want information. So I'm going to get back and go through all the comments in 1 second and respond to you guys, but I just want to, we close the door in 5 days. And this is what it is. I mean, this is a moment for you to ask yourself, am I serious about engaging in my dream life, creating and designing a life? Like, we heard that saying, like, she believed she could, so she did, and like, you hear all these like cute quotesy things, but like, I'm being genuine when I say, like, stop fucking trying to make a paycheck and trading your time for money, and allow yourself to just say yes to everything inside that's screaming yes, and back yourself up, right? And just trust that other people out there really can support you to do this, and you aren't meant to do this alone, right? If you could have already figured it out and done it all by now, you would have, right? If I could have 2 years ago, before I invested in my first mentors, if I could have just changed it, I would have. I was doing everything I knew. I was going to school, I was going to college, I was studying the brain, I was trying every freaking supplement there was that I could afford. I was doing everything I knew to do. I was getting advice from anybody. Like, I was trying everything. It was not for lack of effort, right? I just never knew. I never knew to slow down and tune in. I never knew how to rewire these patterns. I never knew how to get out of that loop and that cycle, right? But like, this is available for you. This is here for you. It's not a freaking sales ploy. It's an opportunity for you. And you are either going to opt into the opportunity or you're not. And look, opportunities pass and time just keeps going and going and going. And if we're stuck on Groundhog Day in 1 year, you're going to look back and it's not going to look much fucking different. Or you can look back and 2 years later, your life is completely unrecognizable. You as a human being, completely unrecognizable. I love, like right now I finally started losing weight again. I lost like 30 pounds and I got really stuck for like years. And I'm finally starting to lose weight again. And I'm excited because like in 2 years, I'm going to look back and my body, even my body is going to be unrecognizable. As a human being, I will look completely different, right? And like, I just get to keep leveling the areas. My spirituality is completely different. My relationships are completely different. The amount of fun that I have or what fun looks like is different. Like, it's all just more me. I'm just being more me and getting to have more me as I go through this journey. So the work doesn't change you into anything except for more of who you deeply long to be. That's what it changes, who you deeply long to be. And those longings are there because you were given the capacity to make them happen. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. It doesn't even make any sense. You cannot have longings that you do not have the ability to create. You have the ability to create the life that you actually long to have for you, for your husband, for your children. Retiring my husband from his job, that was epic. That was such a huge moment for us. That's why we got to move to Florida and live somewhere tropical and have this beautiful pool and this beautiful home. Right? Those are all, everything is available for you. If you're willing to step in and feel the tension and look the fear in the face, like, I'm afraid I'm going to fail. I'm afraid that I'm going to invest and I won't make the money back. I've already spent too much money, blah, blah, blah. My husband won't let me. Maybe you need to just ask your husband, like, or be honest with your husband, be like, up until now, I have not been showing up. And I understand if this doesn't resonate, like if you don't trust me, because I haven't actually showed up in a way that's going to get the results, and I'm willing to do it different now. And this time I'm all in. I'm going to do it different this time, right? Like, what would that look like? A little bit more honesty and owning your shit and then shifting it and being honest. When I made my first investment, I had to say to my husband, like, this will not fall on you. This is on me. I will do this, right? Like, I need you to trust me. That's what I said. And that wasn't easy to say, but I said it because it was freaking real, right? Okay. What else did I, oh yeah, so just PM me if you want to be in the July group. It's 66 days of neuro resetting and rewiring. That's what we're doing. It's doing nothing, but like, this is my power move. I'm going to teach you how to build your business. Everything I did to build my business, super simple, broken down, making it step-by-step easy for you, right? This is how you build your business. And then every single day we're reworking those neural pathways that like we hit that wall and we write that out and on to the next thing, right? So you'll learn that the walls are a really big gift, okay? All right, let me see what you guys got to say when I post this. Oh, I missed a whole bunch of shiznit. Do you guys have any questions? I'm happy to answer questions. Hearts and hearts. Mom of 3. Yeah, girl. Me too. Why isn't it this? Let me see if this will work. Oh, dear Facebook. Your commenting stuff is driving me nuts. Here we go. Yikes, I've got a strong vision of what life will be like 2 years from now, and I know it's coming because I feel like a hot mess right now. Oh yeah. So there's hot mess because I'm a hot mess, and then there's I'm a hot mess because I am challenging myself and growing and pushing myself to the brink of what I know is possible consistently, and that causes a mess, but that mess actually brings the most epic results. Then there's the mess of like, I'm just undisciplined, I'm not doing the stuff I need to do, and everything's a mess, which is so painful. Like, fuck that. That's all I have to say about that. That shit is so painful. Like, anything feels better than that. Yes, it might feel like tension, it might feel scary to back yourself and back your dreams and trust other people, but it feels more hard and more scary to feel every day like you're failing who you know you are. That hurts. I'm unavailable for that shit. Completely unavailable for that shit. I love that. Always reminding myself words don't teach. We teach through the clarity of example. Oh yes. I have to let my soul fly free. A few weeks and I'll be done with at least one thing that keeps me feeling stuck, small, and unhappy. I wonder what that is. Thank you, Susan. So happy for you. I love that with your history, you have chosen your bedroom as your happy place. That's awesome. I never thought about that, Crystal. That's really insightful. Yes. You are so safe and secure with your current life and relationship, and this is your happy place now. Love it! You have arrived, lady. P.S. You deserve all of it. If you're unhappy with your office, make it yours. Own that, bitch. Hell yes. I love that, Crystal. Thank you. Woo! I feel like I need to slow down so I can make some damn decisions. Sherry, that is probably one of the smartest things I've heard people say all day. Slower is faster. And it's going to look like one decision at a time. right? Just like one decision at a time. Like that's in the July group. This is what we do every single week. Like, okay, what are the 2 top priorities? What are the decisions that need to be made about it? And that's a maturity thing, right? Like, so, you know, a lot of times they're asking me about this and that. Like most of the time it's like, okay, right now is a moment to practice decisiveness, and that's a maturity thing. That's not like this is like some esoteric outside thing I need to understand for this thing. It's actually just learning the discipline of making a decision. Because when you have a multi-million-dollar business, trust me, you're going to need the ability to be decisive, right? So we start practicing that shit now. So even like the people, before they even come into the group, the wealthy coach group, before they even come in, before they say yes, it begins then, right? Because what it takes for you to make the decision, like, okay, fuck it, I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm backing myself up. And 40 seconds later, you might be like, oh, but what about this and this and this? But it doesn't matter. Like when you make that commitment, you make the decision and you're in, like that's, Tony Robbins says, the moment you have the most clarity is when you need to take action, make decisions. Because 4 hours later, you might be like, well, I don't have clarity. That's why enrollment calls are so powerful, because we do the work to like have the clarity, and then we make a decision from that high level place. And of course, a million times throughout, we're going to like wonder if we did the right thing, but that doesn't matter because that's the low vibe shit. You made a decision to back yourself from that high vibe and the clarity when the clouds have parted, when the fog is gone, right? So slowing down is also a way to get yourself there. So just being really honest, like, okay, I'm going to practice decisiveness right now. That is a mature thing. It's required for my business. I'm growing into this multi-million-dollar business woman. I know that I'm going to have multiple businesses underneath me, and people are going to rely and depend on me, and I'm going to be an example of what it is to be decisive, and I'm going to make the decision, and then I'm actually going to make that decision right. I'm unavailable for going back and wavering back and forth if I made the right decision. I'm going to be decisive, and then I'm going to make that decision work. Regardless, I'm going to make that decision the right decision. All right, and that's a big discipline. That is really big. We're doing that all day long in the July group. I love that, girl. You were in my brain. Wow, freaking out because I want to be comfortable, but I want something that is totally new and uncomfortable. Ah, yes, right? Look, that Oprah Winfrey. No greater battle than the part of you that wants to stay the same and the part of you that wants to grow and change. It's like duking it out is what it feels like, right? It's like war. So here's what's really going on. So sometimes just knowing what's going on is really supportive, right? So what's really happening is your brain is registering some imaginary thing as dangerous, even though it's not. So your brain's only job is to keep you safe, which means not safe like my brain knows how to keep it. Hell no, your brain doesn't know how to keep you safe. It doesn't know at all. It's like an amoeba, right? Like just think of it as like this like single cell amoeba that just like knows nothing, right? So I'm pretty sure an amoeba has a single cell. It's been a long time since I was in biology. This is what I want you to understand. Your brain's only job, which means your brain and your nervous system, right? Like your nervous system's only job is to actually get you to do only what you've ever fucking done before. Whatever you did yesterday and the day before, it wants you to show up and do today. That's why momentum is so powerful, because when you start to gain momentum, your brain wants you to continue doing whatever you did the day before. That's why it helps us so much, right? But in the beginning, when we're going, I did this, like I had this day, I was indecisive. I refused to step in fully all these days. I didn't back myself all these days, right? So then you wake up today and you're like, okay, that's it. Today I'm going to do it. And all of a sudden you have this tsunami of momentum behind you trying to get you to only do whatever you did yesterday and the day before. That is your brain's job. That's why it's so powerful for you to learn how to rewire what's going on in here. When you can rewire that pattern so that what your brain is trying to get you to do is actually the thing that's in alignment with you getting the result, that's when all the shit changes. That's why you see people going crazy at Tony Robbins events and all this other stuff, right? Like, because it's such an instant shift. And we don't have to willpower our way into it or do all this kind of stuff. And we stay in it, we rewire those patterns, right? So, yeah. And look, 1% of people are going to make that decision. 1% of people are going to be willing to be like, I feel this tension, there's this battle inside of me, but I'm going to actually step in to something where I'm putting my ass on the line and I'm going to burn the boat, so the boat has to go away. There's no boat. I'm on the island. There's no boat. I'm here. I have nowhere to go. I have to fucking make this work. I refuse to starve to death. Right? It is such an epic feeling of aliveness, and for some people it's terrifying. For most people it's terrifying. Right? For me now it's like, life would be fucking boring without that. It would be really boring, right? So for me, it's not terrifying at all. Actually, it's sometimes confusing or discombobulated. It's always discombobulating, but discombobulating feels good now because I know I'm growing. Or when you push yourself far enough so that you're stumbling around, that's when you know you're growing. Otherwise, you're just going to have the same day over and fucking over, and you're going to keep telling yourself, I'm going to figure it out myself, and I'll do it different this time, and you don't, and you beat yourself up, and it's fucking miserable. I ain't available for that shit, right? Ugh, no. Oh, I can pin this comment to the top for you guys. Yeah, so Sherry, it's a moment, right? Like, we get these moments, and I don't believe in coincidences. I've been saying that a lot lately because it's been on my radar a lot. Like, I don't believe in coincidences. If you're hearing this message, there's a reason you're hearing this message. And I'm not going to tell you what that reason is because only your soul can, but there's a reason you're hearing this message, right? It's for you. There's no coincidences. Whew. I wasn't expecting all that to come out today. It must be because I'm in my freaking bedroom. And by the way, this is the first time in my life I've ever had a king bed. See my king bed? It's so amazing, right? And that painting right there was like handmade with gems. And I was in the furniture store, and I saw it, and I was obsessed with it, so I bought it. And the lady gave it to me for like $200 off, of course, because it felt like a big fat gift to me in my brand new bedroom, right? It was so amazing. Yeah, I can like actually sleep now because I don't have to feel my husband violently. Does anyone else's husband do this? You're in bed and they roll over, but they don't roll over like this. They roll over like, and they jerk everything, and they roll over like they're like violently being murdered in their sleep. That's how my husband rolls over. So I'm loving the king size bed. It's pretty epic. Yes, girl, I'm unavailable for that shit. No more. I hate that. I hate the feeling of being stuck in somewhere and not getting out of it. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. I hope you understand that. It doesn't have to be that way anymore, right? Just reach out in the PM. Don't worry. I'll take care of you, right? I'll help you through it. Reach out in the PM. The door closes in 5 days, and that's it. It's done, right? I feel like failure is my pattern. Afraid of continuing the pattern of failure. That is so common, Andrea. Like, so common. I would say, oddly enough, because I wouldn't have predicted this, but the thing I hear most from most of my clients is that they're afraid to fail. They're just afraid of failing. And maybe I never really went through that too much because I was like, I was labeled the dumb blonde girl, and like everybody already expected me to fail, so there wasn't too much to let down. But I definitely went through seasons of that as I gained success. And like, I went through seasons of like I have Diamond Mastermind, right? And I have one-on-one clients in there, and there's pretty badass women in there. And I remember going through a season of like, oh my God, I have to do better than all my clients or else I wouldn't be like the leader and they wouldn't trust me anymore and da-da-da. And like, I'm over that shit. None of that. I would love my girls to soar ahead of me, right? I stay in step with my soul. So that is the powerful work for me, right? But I remember going through a season of that and like having these sensations of being afraid to fail. Like, oh my God, but what if I'm teaching how to fill groups, and what if I launch this group and nobody joins the group? Like that, right? Like that shit was real for a moment in time. I, soared right through that shit because I know what to do. This work I'm teaching in the July group, this is exactly what I do. I wish I could just teach it to you guys right now. Like, I feel like everybody deserves to know this, right? But here's the thing. You're not going to do the work that gets you on the other side if you can't even put both feet in and make an investment, right? Like, that's what it is. People are either going to invest in themselves and back themselves, and they're going to follow through and do the work, or they're not, and that's what it is. And there is no right or wrong. I don't think someone's right or wrong for doing anything. Like, none of it matters. It doesn't matter. But I do know if your soul is saying hell yes and calling you to something, and you don't back that up, you're not going to do the work either, right? Like, that's what it is. So this process that coaches have figured out is there for a reason, and it works, right? Like I said, the work begins before you even are actually in the group, because the moment you say yes, you expand, and all of a sudden everything that you see will look different. Ask any of the girls that have said yes and invested in themselves. You say yes, and all of a sudden, I remember the first time I said yes to significant investment, a significant monthly investment. Like, I literally made the investment, pushed send, made the payment, sat back in my chair, was like, and then I was like, okay, now what? And I looked around, and it was like, all of a sudden, everything looked like a fucking mess. But like, right previous to that, it wasn't that big of a deal. But right after that, because I was now a woman who had expanded to that level, and all of a sudden I could see things differently in my life. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. If you've not experienced it, if you've experienced it, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? If you haven't, then I wish that for you. I wish for you to have that level of expansion where the world looks different. and you see things differently because it's pretty epic. I think I'm the violent jerk. I don't know if I am, because I'm the light sleeper and he's not, but he is a violent roller over. So now my amazing, wonderful husband gets to have his own big side of the bed and jerk around violently as much as he wants. You know what else he does? My husband, he sleeps with one knee up, like this. It's like he's laying back and his knee is actually up in the air. Like he's sleeping and his leg will tilt left and right a little bit and stop itself, but he's sleeping and his leg's actually up in the air. Like, I've never heard of anything like that. Oh, I love you guys so much. Okay, so that is that for today. That was everything, I believe. I don't see any more questions. That was a lot. I don't know who this was for. This shit was for somebody. I had to move my whole damn office in the bedroom just to get this message to you. You're fucking welcome. All right, guys. I love you so big. I will see you soon. Have a great day.